Welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I am founder of the Food Truck Training Group on Facebook, co-owner with my beautiful wife, Melissa, of our food truck. It's called Food Truck 101, and I am the executive director of the National Street Food Vendors Association, a nonprofit dedicated to education, advocacy, and uplifting all food vendors. You'll be hearing more about our nonprofit in the coming weeks. Today, I'm going to be talking about a rarely addressed topic, and that's safety on a food truck, especially since we have so many people that have never worked in a professional kitchen before. So we're talking about safety. Before I get into that topic, I want to remind you guys I'm going to be in Houston, Texas this year, July 29th and 30th for the Food Truck Owners Expo. I'm going to be giving two classes, one on profitable menu writing, one on marketing in the off season. After I give those two classes, I'm going to be out on the main expo floor in an area that's called the Campfire Networking Lounge, where you guys can come and sit down and listen to me talk about even more stuff to do with food trucks, or you can ask me questions. It'll be a conversation, be a way for you to meet other food truck owners and talk to them about what's going on in their food truck world. Again, that's in Houston, Texas, July 29th and 30th. Go to the website. It's ftoexpo.com. Order your tickets today, and when you do order your tickets, put in code FTTG15 for a 15% discount. I want to take a moment to thank Table Needs for sponsoring this episode of the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. Table Needs is a full-service POS system capable of handling your busy food trucks, cash needs, credit card needs, and reporting needs. Check out the link in the description for more information about Table Needs, and they're even going to give you a guide on writing a food truck owner's manual. So the topic at hand, safety practices for a food truck. So we're not only talking about keeping you safe, but we're talking about keeping the food safe. Very first one, this should be top of everyone's mind, proper food storage. Ensure that everything that's perishable, the stuff that will wilt or go bad, is stored at the correct temperature. Don't just assume just because the store keeps it refrigerated that's the right temperature. Find out what the right temperature is for that product and then keep it there if it's possible. The reason you're doing that is to prevent foodborne illness. Foodborne illness is something you can't see. So the product may look pristine, but it's got bacteria growing because it wasn't held at the right temperatures. So you want to invest in high quality refrigeration. You want to regularly check the temperatures. And when I say regularly, I mean frequently throughout the day. Not once in the morning, because the thing sat all night without the door being opened. So yeah, it's probably at temperature. You want to check it when you're in the heat of the day, got all the cooking equipment on, the hood system is sucking out all the cold air from your air conditioner. Then you want to check it. Where's your refrigeration unit? Is it still at the proper temperature? You want to keep raw food separated from cooked foods. You want to avoid cross-contamination. You want to take a food manager certification class. And I don't care if your state doesn't require it. Do it anyway. This is your profession. Learn how to do it right. Safety practice number 2, maintain your equipment. Every piece of equipment that you have on that food truck is deteriorating with every single use. Now, the deterioration may be minute, and that piece of equipment could last the next 20 years. One of my friends has a 50-year-old oven that is still working. It's a gas-powered pizza oven. It's got 2 sets of chains, and it is heavy. But it has been working for the last 50 years. Taking care of equipment is a job you have to put on your to-do list. So you're going to be checking for the basics, a gas leak. You want to make sure the electrical systems are safe. You got a generator sitting on the front of your truck or the back of your truck. You might want to check it and maintain it. You want that thing to run for as many hours as possible. Follow the owner's manual for every single piece of equipment. If you bought it all used, look up the equipment online and download the manual and follow the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, and annual recommendations for maintaining that equipment. You are invested in this equipment. You want it to last you a long, long time. Schedule these maintenance checks to be done and put them on a calendar to where you get a reminder. So every piece of equipment we've got, I go through the operations manual and I put in my calendar. We have to change the oil. We have to do this. We have to oil the chains. We have to grease something. We have to change a filter. All that's on a calendar. So every morning I get those reminders. Hey, today you have to do this, this, and this. And then I make sure it gets done that day. So schedule those regular maintenance duties. Cleanliness and sanitation, that should go without saying. But you want to maintain a strict cleaning schedule for the food truck. And not just the stuff you dirtied up today. You have to do the deep cleaning. You have to do sanitization. You have to clean the equipment, clean the walls, clean the floors, clean the ceiling, clean air conditioning ducts, vents. All of that stuff needs to be clean. If you have a brand new truck, take a picture of it. Take several pictures of it, not to brag about it, but to remind yourself what it looked like when it was new. You want it to look like that 1 and 2 and 3 years down the road. Just as an interesting side note, I was doing some research yesterday into common deficiencies found on food inspections in the state of Florida. And do you want to know what one of the top ones was? Cleanliness and sanitation. And it was so far and away the biggest deduction taken on a inspection. And this is not just food trucks, but restaurants and food trucks. Cleanliness and sanitation. This is something that should never get marked off on. That's low-hanging fruit. Wipe your station down, clean as you go. You gotta do cleanliness things and then do the basics. Teach your employees to wash their hands and wash their hands properly. It has to be done frequently. That's part of cleanliness and sanitization. I can't tell you how many times I've stepped up to a food truck, they've grabbed my money, turned around, started cooking my food without even pretending like they were washing their hands. Didn't even put sanitizer on them. Sanitizers are not a way to not wash your hands. So don't think the bill's saying, yeah, just put sanitizer on it. But at least go through the motions and make me think you're washing your hands. But put that on your to-do list as well. Cleanliness and sanitization. Deep cleaning. And the deep cleaning goes to inside and outside. Got to wipe down the roof. You got to make sure the seals are in place. You got to clean your food truck. Proper waste disposal, practice number 4. Go on a food truck group, especially one that's not monitored very heavily, and ask, what do you do with your grease when you're done cooking? And you'll get a handful of people that will say, pour it down the sewer, put it in a bag, throw it in the trash. Those are not proper ways to dispose of that particular waste product. Pour it down the drain. So proper waste disposal, especially when we're talking about cooking shortenings. Those are recyclable. So you want to take it to some place that will recycle it. You can have a recycle bin on your property if they can deliver such a thing to your house. Your commissary should have one. Restaurants have them. Restaurants won't mind because they get paid for that. That's not a bunch, but I can remember many years ago, they sent one of the checks to the restaurant by mistake instead of to our corporate office. So I just opened it because I didn't know what it was. And it was a check for $45 for the shortening they'd picked up the month before. Again, this was many years ago. But the idea is, especially when it comes to shortening, it is a possible revenue stream. Why would you give it away to people that make diesel and biofuels out of it? Sell it to them or have a recycling company pay you for it. It's a revenue stream. Don't give it away. But it's not just the shortening, it's proper waste disposal. It's any other product that you have. If you're in an area where they want you to segregate your plastics or your glass, do that. Be a responsible business owner. Fire safety is practice number 5. Your food trucks that have fire extinguishers, at the very least, the portable ones that's mandated by your county fire department. Now, I always want to go a step above because some county, they don't care. Yeah, an ABC's fine. And it could be fine for your food truck. But if you have a need of a K fire extinguisher, an ABC is not going to help you. So have the fire extinguishers you need for your equipment, regardless of what the health inspector or the fire marshal says to have. Because sometimes they give you the minimum and you need more than the minimum. Install a smoke detector. Install a carbon monoxide detector. Those will keep you safe. Now, they're not going to put a fire out. They're not going to stop a leak, but they'll let you know when there's one before you may even be able to smell it. Ensure that your truck has the proper ventilation. And again, part of the deep cleaning, clean up all the grease that floats around if you have deep fryers or other grease-laden foods that you're cooking. Do a little safety inspection as far as fire goes to make sure you don't have paper towels too close to something that has a flame. If you ever watch cooking shows on TV, you're always going to see some of the novices that light kitchen towels and paper towels on fire because they keep them too close to an open burner. And yeah, that's hilarious until you realize that, oh, the bottom underneath side of your flat top is an open flame. I've had people that have set lighters, little butane lighters, underneath there, not thinking about, oh, it'll sit there, no problem. It gets hot and you have a little miniature explosion. Now, it's not serious, but it scares the crap out of you when it happens. So be mindful of what you're doing. Don't get complacent. Safety practice number 6. Safe food handling practices. Now, we talked about you getting a food manager certification. Now you're responsible to teach your employees what those safe food handling practices are. the very least of which is hand washing, and then wearing gloves, when to change the gloves, and how to avoid the basics in cross-contamination. One thing I want to mention is somebody was talking about cross-contamination, and they were using it in the wrong sense. Cross-contamination is taking one product that has the potential for contamination and then using the same utensils, the same cutting board, and putting a whole different product on those already dirty utensils. That's cross-contamination, where you take the potential for beef germs to get on chicken germs for simplification purposes. This person was talking about a physical contamination. Physical contamination is a hair falling into food, is a nail breaking off into the food. It's a Band-Aid. It's you open up a top of something and part of the plastic falls off into food. Those are physical contaminations. They are not cross-contaminations. Cross-contamination involves germs. So understand the difference and then teach it to your employees so that you guys are on the same language. You want to use different cutting boards. We have multiple colored cutting boards on our food truck, and it's just me and Melissa. We have separate utensils for certain products. We cook shrimp, which means we have to be very, very, very mindful of shrimp allergies. So we have a whole set of utensils and a whole piece of equipment that's dedicated to just cooking shrimp, nothing else. And yes, we screw up and pick up the wrong tongs and then get mad at ourselves and have to throw the tongs in the sink to wash them. But we've got backups. I got 3 full sets of everything needed for the shrimp, so I don't ever mess up and accidentally touch a shrimp with a piece of equipment that's going to be touching other food. Got to teach your employees the importance of keeping those potential allergens separate. Safety tip number 7, staff training. I've been mentioning training several times already when it comes to your staff, but they've got to sign off. They've got to understand what those safety protocols are. They got to understand not only the food, but we got to talk about equipment and then what to do during an emergency. Which fire extinguisher do we get based on the fire and the fire's location? Where's the Ansel system? When do we pull it? When do we not pull it? If there's a fire inside to where we have to pull the Ansel system, where's the cutoff valve for the propane? Is there a disconnect for the electricity that will automatically shut off the electricity if the Ansel system is pulled if we have electric equipment? And that training needs to be updated. So it's not just, here's how you keep your food safe. It's how to keep the equipment safe, which in turn keeps your staff safe. You want to make sure that you have health and safety certifications. You are a business owner. It is part of your mandate as a business owner, a responsible business owner, to continue to educate yourself and update yourself on anything that deals with your business and then safety within your business, because you have the obligation to pass that on to your employees. So not only should your employees have some type of food handler permit, and then you have to record that training, but you also got to remind them that, hey, you got to get a new one. That's your responsibility. It's not theirs, because the health department's still going to mark it off. Even if you make the employees be responsible for their own training, you're the ones losing the points. Keep yourself certified, keep yourself educated, and continually learn, and then pass on what you've learned to your employees. This will help you keep your workers' comp lower. So there you have it. There's 8 different things you can do to help keep yourself a little bit more safe. Thank you guys so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. Please take a moment to follow our podcast. And if you really like what we do, please leave us a little bit of support. There's a link in the description. You can give us monthly support. You can give us a one-time support donation. Every little bit does help. Until next time, you guys have a profitable day.